We head to East Africa, where Kenyan President William Ruto has suspended 4 electoral commissioners who refused to endorse the results of the last presidential election, which delivered his win. Ruto on Friday announced the tribunal, headed by a judge, would investigate the 4 officials for serious violation of the law, gross misconduct and incompetence, which could see them ultimately sacked from their posts. But opposition leader Raila Odinga has condemned Ruto's move as the government's plan to rig the elections in 2027. Ruto's announcement of the tribunal follows a recommendation by the National Assembly to suspend the commissioners over their conduct during the August elections. Ruto was declared winner after narrowly beating his rival Odinga, but 4 out of 7 commissioners, including the vice chairperson, said the tally was flawed and the result opaque. Susan Nimusiima, a communications expert at the Uganda Ministry of Agriculture, joins me from Mbarara, Uganda. Thank you very much for giving us your time. The drama started in August 2022, actually, and it has climaxed now with the suspension of the electoral officers by President Ruto. What is your reaction?
The drama did not start in August. The drama started in 2007. It is very important to understand the electoral pattern of Kenya. Over the last 4 elections that Kenya has had, Raila Odinga has been a candidate. He has lost all the 4 elections, Ruto's election being the 4th. And he has claimed cheating in all the 4 elections. So the drama did not start in August. But what changed with August was the incumbent was supporting Raila. So it presented a case where the person organizing the election supports the losing candidate. And so the losing candidate had to find another way of presenting a credible challenge to the results. And one of the ways he used was the IEBC commissioners. There was claims to manipulation of data using computer hacking. There were other claims, but bottom line, he was challenging the election, saying it had been rigged, and yet the person who organized the election supported him and campaigned for him. Now, when you look at it, and you look at the fact that these people waited 1 week into tallying, and they wait for 2 hours to announcement, and they present their minority report, you realize that, number 1, their behavior was abnormal. Number 2, it could have plunged the nation into chaos. In fact, what helped the nation not plunge into chaos was the fact that the sitting government was not supporting the winning candidate. So it was very clear to everybody that even with his small margin, he really had won. So it's a narrative that Mr. Odinga needs to retire and find another approach to this whole election thing. Saying that Ruto is going to rig in 2027, first of all, what those 4 commissioners did was really unethical. You cannot wait for 2 hours to announcement when you're very clear about who the winner is, and you come out and say, no, there are anomalies. They should have stated the anomalies as they happened. Then we could treat it with credibility. And going forward, it is very hard to trust them with another national election, because they could be the source of more controversy. They could be the source of plunging the nation into chaos.
What would you say then to those who look at it from a different perspective, that it is not about the presidency now, but the legitimacy of the election results? In that context, I'd like you to speak on the assessment of the IEBC in the conduct of the elections generally before I bring the next question.
First of all, the IEBC has always conducted these elections amid serious challenges. And at some point, I think it was the election before this one in 2017, when the election was cancelled. But when someone says that the credibility of IEBC is under question, you have got to ask, in whose interest is the IEBC acting? Because if these commissioners were appointed by the incumbent president, rather by the then incumbent president, not the current one, the then incumbent president, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, if they were appointed by him, the incumbent president supported the Azimio candidate, Raila Odinga. They ran an election. There was there was so much transparency in this election. A lot of media, actually all the media houses in Kenya were running independent tally centers, collecting their results from the polling stations. That's how much transparency ran in this election.
All right, in the interest of time, I'm sorry to interject, but we have to try and cover as much area as possible. So the suspension of these 4 electoral commissioners, some persons are questioning how constitutional is it?
The constitutionality of it, I think, comes from the fact that the office they held, they swore to uphold the law, and they did not uphold the law in that moment, because it is the job of the chairperson, IEBC, to announce results. There's no provision for them to go and announce alternative views. So it is indeed correct to have them suspended.
Okay, with this removal now, you shared a concern about loyalties earlier. Isn't there a danger that the current Ruto government might replace them with his loyalists ahead of the election, as being accused by Odinga?
It is, whoever the government comes up with has to be vetted by the National Assembly. And it is not, the National Assembly is not necessarily occupied by Ruto delegates only. So they cannot be only Ruto loyalists to join, because they will have to be vetted. There's a process. It is not that he chooses and the person is appointed.
We definitely needed that clarification. Thank you very much, Susan, for speaking with us on the news.
Thank you.